Hey guys, and welcome to the Crypto Wave podcast, where we keep you up to date on all of the latest news, trends, and people that are making waves in crypto. I'm Jennifer from Space Coast Crypto Consulting, and joining me here today are my co-hosts Jesse and Joey.
What's up, Jennifer?
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
By the way, if you are tuning in, thank you so much. Smash the subscribe button, smash the bell so you get notifications every time we upload a new video. We try to go, either live or at least record every week, just to keep you updated because so many things are happening.
So many.
This is like the most fast thing I've seen, and not because it's exciting and more celebrities are adopting this and people and big brands are adopting this, but there's so many ways to enter into what we're doing here, whether it's a DAO or some kind of DeFi operation, or if it's a blockchain operation, or if it's a new coin, or if it's an NFT, or now a virtual land in the Metaverse.
Oh boy,
Yes.
Here we go.
And so it's like, where do you start? It's like, not only are you building a community with your currency, right? But then you're also collecting art to put in your own gallery or shop or store or bar or casino in a different virtual world. It's like you're collecting all these things at one time, simultaneously trying to navigate. And even for me, who I've kind of been a gamer, I've had virtual tokens and virtual money, spent from sim games and everything else, with the consoles and everything else. Now, my goodness, guys, it's like, so you have to really be almost hyper focused on where you want to participate. Because if you are just trying to get like, well, I got a little Bitcoin, I got a little ETH, I got a little Litecoin, I got a little this, and you're just trying to diversify coins and tokens without really knowing what you're going to do with them. Are you going to be a trader? Are you collecting them to be spent on a certain blockchain application or in a certain metaverse world, or what? It can be a little daunting.
Oh, definitely.
But things are moving so fast, and there's so much money, there's so much capital being raised and spent and bought, and we're going to go through some of that today. It's a very exciting show. Share this with your friends and try to keep up. We're going to try to make it pretty watered down because we know there's a lot of people who this is all very brand new to. So buckle up. Let's get going.
Yeah, get ready for this ride because we're going to be talking about this metaverse world. And
the metaverse is not just a term for sci-fi anymore. We're bringing the metaverse to reality.
It's here.
Virtual reality.
Yeah. It's funky. I have to tell you, Jesse and I were exploring it earlier today, and it's as Jesse said, what's that song? It's a whole new world.
Yeah.
Wow.
A whole new world.
Thank you, Jennifer. Wow. All right. Thank God this isn't America's Got Talent. But
Hey.
Man, Joey's already like snapping up the insult.
Yeah, good thing it's not.
hey, I warmed up earlier. We had an hour show prep, so we've been doing this show in our minds for an hour.
All right. Well, Shiba rallied earlier this week for any Shiba Inu holders.
Do you know any?
Just one.
I'm the sole survivor.
Yeah, so Shiba rallied on the news that they have now, they're now building a gaming platform, and they're going to be building a play-to-earn platform. So that combined with Ethereum holders are purchasing Shiba as well. So it looks like 12% of the whales that hold Ethereum also hold Shiba. So it's like the number 3 largest held coin that there is on the market.
There's over 1 million coin holders in Shiba. Over 1 million people have Shiba now.
Yeah.
That seems like still so very little compared to the 8 billion people.
But if you take that universe, as you said, this is still a new world.
So I saw a really good graphic where it was like this wave form model. So we are in that kind of like before the early adopters, and then when it goes like mainstream, right? So we're like right here, like the innovators and that kind of time. But we're kind of getting into that early adopter where some of the, again, mainstream, we're starting to see more articles about it. We're starting to see magazine reviews. We're starting to see editorials. We're starting to see more and more people talk about it. Of course, podcasts like this and other other minds, other voices speaking about it.
Yeah, so let me talk about the S-curve for a second. So
Yeah.
the S-curve is a chart that measures disruptive technology. So it's the life cycle for technologies. And basically, you have your innovators and early
That's what it-
adopters.
yeah, innovators, yeah.
And then from there, you have this jump. It's called the chasm. And it's like this space between early adopters and early majority. And then you have the late majority and then the laggards, like the people who are just, not wanting to give in and adopt. But typically it takes the same amount of time to get from 0 to 10% as it does to get from 10 to 90% in this technology life cycle. And we've seen it time and time again with disruptive technologies like broadband internet, like the cell phone adoption, even automobiles.
Internet?
Yeah, and internet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because internet has been closely compared to this whole crypto thing.
Yes.
There are people like, I'll never use that. That's
This
Putin
internet
nanny.
thing, that's a fad.
That's sci-fi. That won't last. And now everybody's forced to be on it.
And I just saw something. It was either 1 out of 3 are still not using the internet.
Really?
So yeah, I just
Is
read
that
this
globally?
globally.
That's why.
Globally,
Wait till
1 out of 3.
wait till Starlink is activated,
Mm-hmm.
and then people, because we're talking about like indigenous tribes of like the Amazon and like the sub-Saharan deserts of Africa. Like these people, there's no utilities there. They don't have running water. They don't have they're still digging for wells, and they don't have plumbing indoors. They're
No, I get
so
that.
let's be honest. There's a lot of population in both Asia and India where a majority of everybody lives in this world, and they are just farmers. They're in tin roof shanties. They don't have indoor plumbing guys. So once we get the Starlink out there, which is that big constellation of satellites that Elon Musk has been sending up every single week, it seems, here in Florida, once that's activated, then it will be globally brought to the masses. But again, they still have to afford the electronics, and they still have to somehow power those electronics. So there's going to be a population of this earth that just never adopts, right? But let's be honest. In first world countries, you're China, you're Russia, all of Europe, all of North and South America, there's plenty of a market, okay, for all this technology. So Starlink's going to make it so much more accessible, and it's going to get to everybody. So that 1 of 3 is going to become 2 of 3 easily. So let's just wait for that. In the meantime, the people who are savvy and do have phones and can download these apps and trade and do everything with crypto and everything else that's available today, they're doing it.
There was another statistics that I saw that said this is the first generation that can make millions of dollars from their phone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, millennials.
That's no secret.
Yeah, definitely. If you're not making money with
Well,
your
it is
phone,
if
then
you're
you're
in the
doing
bush and you don't have
something
internet.
wrong.
I mean, imagine being in the bush, getting internet for the first time, and then you go to like the more popular YouTube channels, and it's all these like pranks and all these like
and Gilligan's Island reruns.
I don't know about that.
They'll think it's home movies.
All right, so I want to talk about the metaverse today. So I'm going to start.
Totally sidetracked.
So in the metaverse, you have Decentraland, you have Axie Infinity, you have Sandbox, you have Engine. These are all different cryptos and protocols that are metaverse related.
Yeah.
So the number 2 highest ranked metaverse project right now is called the Sandbox, and their token is Sand. And they have a platform that you can basically enter, and you can create your own games. You can build your own games. You can purchase land that is sold as NFTs. And so today...
Would you like to explore that?
Yeah. So today we're going to take a look at that. So this is the platform for the Sandbox here.
Yeah, so we'll go to home. This is actually located at sandbox.game. That's Sandbox, SANDBOX .game, GAME.
Yeah, so you can get a visual there to see exactly what the Sandbox could look like. And
right now it's only available on Windows, however, which has been critiqued. But once it goes to Mac, it'll definitely be adopted by even more people.
Yeah.
So it says Mac and other OS coming soon. So in the meantime, this is what we were talking about earlier, Jennifer.
Yeah, so I thought it would be fun if we could take a look at some of these plots of land.
Is it
that
market
are
or
selling.
create?
It's market, yeah. So in the create space, you can create your own games and create your own products that you can actually sell on these platforms when people are playing the games. But here we have the plots of land that you can purchase, and these are purchased through OpenSea. Now, an interesting fact about OpenSea, the Sandbox now has more volume of trading activity, of trading land and NFTs for Sandbox than the Bored Apes do. And I know we've been talking a lot about NFTs the past few episodes, and so Bored Apes have been like these really, really largely priced, I would say.
Hyperinflated is more like it.
Yes,
but,
NFTs.
But they're designer NFTs.
Yeah.
And they come with a utility as, any, I mean, Gary Vee has been talking about the utility of NFTs. And I mean, this guy's a big proponent, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
In his world, it's wine. So, of course, you buy a wine NFT. Let's just say you get like this one label of a certain vintage of a certain, type of style of wine, right? So let's just say you own that label, whatever it else. As a wine connoisseur, that's probably something exciting. And then you, with that label, anytime that there's a new release of that vintage, or probably not the vintage, but of that particular that style, say Merlot or Cabernet, and you're invited to like a wine tasting.
Yeah,
because
so
you're
the
a holder.
experience with it.
So there's the experience
So
utility.
you get the NFT, the digital version, and then there's this unlocking experience that comes with it. That's pretty cool that you can cash in at a specified amount of time. But looking here at the plots of land, I thought that could bring us into the next story of how there was a sale of $4.3 million for a plot of land on the Sandbox, and that is reported to be the highest sale that any plot of digital virtual land has gone for, $4.3 million. And not to stop there, if you're going to have a $4.3 million lot, then why not have a yacht too for $650,000 in ETH?
It's only natural.
Yeah, so having just looked at Sandbox, and that's one I haven't played on. I've played, and I explained, in previous shows, that Upland I find is pretty fun. They actually use real streets and cities and towns and maps of the world. So you can actually buy, a restaurant, your favorite restaurant down the street, whatever else. Right now, there's still limited markets. Like they're starting with Manhattan, now Staten Island, LA, I think, San Francisco, and some other big places. Soon to be Miami, Chicago, Austin, and some other fun towns. But there's a real commerce going on.
They take the actual restaurants that are there and real.
Not actual, but the location. So it's all the location, and then it's up to you to build.
Okay.
Your high rise, your restaurant, your club, whatever you want to do, and that's what I find also very fun, especially being in real estate here in the real world, not the virtual world, is that there's still a lot of opportunity to become your own tycoon in the virtual space.
I mean, this just opens it up for so much opportunity. Like I said, you can Sandbox provides the software. You don't have to be a coder to create and design games in Sandbox, and also they provide the resources where you can create. You can fabricate a sword, or you can make clothes or skins or something, and you can post them for sale on their platform. So you can literally turn nothing but your creativity into something that you're profiting from and making money. So it just really opens the door of this niche, and how you could use your cell phone for commerce and to profit off of it.
Yeah, and these are browser based. So you don't need to buy the software and download it or anything else.
Do you think the sales of Oculus are going to be through the roof?
I don't want to speculate. I just don't. I'm not a big fan of.
Are there any other companies that are doing this, or are they the one?
Who's the one? The Oculus? No, there's plenty of VR goggles and things like that. I having used it, I just don't feel secure. I almost you see these videos of people, and failing and hitting their friend or hitting the TV off the wall. Or I mean, it's why would you choose to do a boxing, game in VR in a small, tight quarter? Anyway, for me, it's
safety
issues.
It's
not realistic. But then I do see the treadmills that have omnidirectional treadmills. So it's you could run in any direction. and you stay in the same place on this treadmill.
Oh,
but
that's
but
so
like
cool.
but like traditional treadmills, it's one direction, right? And if you try to run sideways, it's not going to work. So they have these new treadmills that no matter what direction you're running, it still feels like you're running, and that the underneath you is still moving in different directions. Anyway,
So you can do fitness in the metaverse.
there's nothing you can't do in the metaverse.
Ooh.
Lose my breath.
If you can move your arms and legs and your head from side to side or anything else in real world, they have the technology to mimic that in the virtual world.
Are we going to your little avatar and just?
Well, we're still on the Sandbox.
We're still talking about Sandbox.
Because I was going to say Jesse ran about 17 miles.
I was out of breath.
In the next segment, you'll see.
Well, before we segue into Decentraland, which is the number 1 metaverse space at the moment, their native token is Mana. I just want to make a comment about Facebook renaming their platform to Meta, and they can't have the whole metaverse just because they're calling themselves Meta now. They can't own the whole thing, and so I think it
was a power play. Let's be honest.
Wasn't there a controversy?
Because somebody has to be named Meta, right? When everything is metaverse, like it's like anything else. I think in food, you want to be Kraft macaroni and cheese. Not just macaroni and cheese, you want to be Kraft macaroni and cheese. You want to have that brand associated with that popular dish, right? So that's all it is. It's a popular item, but you want to have that brand as yours. So everybody that knows, like Kleenex, prime example. Xerox, prime example. Xerox is the brand of copy machines, right? But everybody knows, like, oh, can you Xerox that for me? So it becomes part of the vernacular. What they're really saying is, can you make a paper, copy of...
Yeah, so branding,
and so same thing with Kleenex. Pass me a Kleenex. What they're asking is, pass me a tissue. But the brand is so entrenched in that product that, may I get a Kleenex? May I get a Kleenex?
Yeah,
they're
so
calling,
now, from
they're
now
calling their product
on,
a brand.
this whole sector of the metaverse within the crypto space, like, later on, people are going to just associate the two together just because... of the branding.
Why wouldn't you make that power move, especially as a billionaire, especially with as many investors and everybody else? Somebody had to be called Meta. Mm-hmm. Why would you let your competitor? Why would you let a Bill Gates or
so
a Google?
Zuckerberg jumped on it.
Yeah, and now I will show you. I will demonstrate if you haven't seen it. At the very bottom.
Oh yeah.
When you load, so when you load the apps, it says. Well, now I got to do it in really quickly. So it's not going to do it. But I'll take a screenshot. But at the very bottom, when you load an app, have Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and at the very bottom it says Meta, powered by Meta. So they're just trying to get entrenched into the vernacular because, hey, let's go to the Meta. What they really want you to say is let's go to Facebook's ulterior, universe, not a Decentraland, not an Upland, not a Sandbox. They want to control that community. So when you do visit a VR land, when you do buy virtual land or create virtual products or a virtual avatar, they want you to be in their world because I think there is going to be a competition of which world you're going to spend the most time and money in, right?
Yeah, and I think what it's going to turn into is where you can own these properties or own these pieces of clothing, and you actually be able to have interoperability between the platforms and bring your assets with you.
Yeah, I saw that. You can go from one to the other. What would be interesting is with all these others that Meta, I wonder if he gets left in the dust. Wouldn't that be kind of fun to see Facebook get lost in the dust in this?
Oh, wishful thinking.
Because people are tired of it.
Yeah, I really don't have an opinion about that. So what I really am excited more than anything.
Maybe it should be called the Socialist Bloc.
So we're really trying to keep this light and friendly, bro. We're not going to call it Socialist Book. We're going to call it granted, Upland I think has a lot of fun because it looks like the places that we all are familiar with. Common cities, common streets, names, and so on and so forth. Decentraland already has a lot of visitors, It has. I mean, every time I've been on it the last couple of days, really trying to get entrenched for the show and prepare. I built my avatar. I visited different worlds. I took part in some games. And in the Genesis Plaza, which is kind of where you land when you do enter the Decentraland, and then you could just pretty much, click the map, point wherever you want to go, and then teleport to that area. I teleported, and this is what it looked like. Somehow I found a Trump statue. No kidding. I took like 4 or 5 paces, and then that Trump statue was staring right at me.
Jesse, I have a question.
Hold on. Can I just narrate this since we're looking at it? So what we just looked at, and I can't rewind, was a big billboard that really excites me because of advertising and, of course, how you're going to leverage having land. Do you want to, like, for instance, I'm going into this one building, and on the door it says Milk World. What it's going to be, I don't know. Are they going to sell virtual milk? Is it going to be a bunch of cows? Is it going to be a dairy processing center? I don't know. But here we have a roofless top floor. I don't know. It could be a sky bar serving milk. I don't know. Milk World. Ultimately, it's just white on white on white. Someone just erected the building on that land, and it's, I'm sure, going to be something. Now,
I really like
here,
these
I go to
graphics.
this little plaza, and as you can see, there's a little Twitter icon. I'll put your scene here. So someone's actually like doing like a little bit of revenue generating. I guess you go to their Twitter handle and then ask them to put your name or advertisement or whatever else in that little plot of land. But yeah, the graphics are pretty good. Depending on how powerful your machine is, you could elect to have like shadows and really, really good superior graphics, or you get the lay down version, which is just very, very two-dimensional, doesn't have a whole lot of 3D, but it still allows you to navigate through the world and so forth. You could interact with people. You walk up to things, and you could click on them and see who they are, add them as a friend. And same thing with the galleries. I visited a couple galleries, and we saw that there was NFTs there. Some of them were for sale, some of them weren't for sale.
Yeah.
And then when you clicked on them, it gave you their kind of description and with a link to go to OpenSea and actually bid on that art and other things. So there's different levels of interaction where you're not only navigating this world, but then you're also buying real NFTs within the world powered by OpenSea. So it was, for me, very enlightening. I had a good time. Didn't really engage with anybody else. I was really just focused on what opportunities are available there, and what I saw was pretty powerful.
Yeah, that's a really, there is a lot to unpack there. That walkthrough was really great. That really gives like an awesome visual of what is available, and a few points to make. First of all, like seeing that billboard, which you can see that he's walking up to there. So Mercari. So
Meraki, yeah.
Meraki.
Own part of the...
So you can actually purchase that piece of land that has the billboard. You can rent that out to people. So then now you're creating a passive income stream where you somebody is paying you monthly to advertise on that platform, and that kind of goes into what gives these pieces of land value, right? So we looked on Sandbox and we saw that the prices of some of these plots of land could be anywhere from like $10,000 to one went for $4.3 million. So what gives those plots of land value is their locations, is their ability to have marketing, is like what's built on them. If you're near an entryway or an exit way, or if you're near like some cool arena or center where people are going to be hosting events and stuff. So there are many different factors to look at, and it'll be really cool to see what type of crazy innovative things people are building.
I have a question. When earlier Jesse was showing me this, and it was really interesting, you could see all the people that were in Decentraland.
Mm-hmm.
You could see all the people. You could add a friend. If you walk by somebody, there's maybe me. Oh, you could add me as a friend. Does it tell you how many people are in the universe at one time? Did we catch that?
Not that I saw.
I meant to ask that earlier.
But I mean, here's the thing. It's ongoing 24 hours a day. You may have people from all over the world at any given day on there. I'm sure Now it's
I'm sure there are metrics
close to
tracking
7
it. I mean, this is all about like grabbing people's attention and saving.
Maybe, yeah, I'm sure there's some analytics, but
people's
let's be
data.
honest. When something like this really does get to the past the early adopter into like the critical mass where everybody's on it, it's 7:00 here on the East Coast. It's only like 3:00 maybe in California, and maybe like noon in Hawaii. So as people kind of relax into the evening, maybe they'll skip a sitcom and they'll go on the Decentraland and play around, go engage with some friends, maybe just walk around and take a tour, maybe actually build something productive and engage in it on a deeper level. But that's going to happen all the time around the clock. So even though there only may be 200 or 100 people right now, throughout the day, I'm sure there's at least a couple thousand that are rotating in and out. I may log on for 5 minutes and bounce out and then bounce back in. So even someone like me, I may be, one of those spottier kind of people. Anyway, there's going to be all kinds of ways to engage. I don't think there's going to be like people who are there full time, for instance, like manning a kiosk and selling, sunglasses. I think it's going to be to where you have the people who just get in, do whatever, kind of business or engage in whatever event, and then they're off. And the fact is, if you are really like, for instance, I have a real desire to get into the busier areas and create experiences. I would love to have a virtual bar, virtual gallery. I want to do some really fun things with some of the space. Have festivals like 3-day music festivals, and everything being virtual. I mean, that's where I'm imagining this could go. And in those cases, yeah, I'm gonna have people come to a certain event. So it doesn't really matter who's there all the time during any given minute of any given day. What matters, I think, is how you can attract your tribe of people to come interact with you for a certain event. Like you had a great LinkedIn event. What if instead of on LinkedIn or Zoom, you were hosting it in your own virtual, cafe, in Decentraland? Like, hey guys, come to Decentraland, come to this, everything's like plotted with like a numerical plot. So let's say square 9, 210. And then people would find that plot on the grid, go to there, find your cafe, and then engage in this workshop with Jennifer talking about crypto. So these are that's really gonna matter is how many people are gonna be able to really get to where you want them to go, engage how you want them to engage, and stay there and essentially build a community within these worlds. I mean, the metaverse is going to be everything anybody else wanted. Whatever you see, I mean, except for like eating and drinking, like tangible food, but you're going to be able to like dance in your own home with other people from around the world, and you'll be able to have conversations in your own home with people around the world. I mean, it's going to be magical.
People are already having experiences like this. For example,
Tons.
Travis Scott had a very successful concert in 2020. He hosted an experience with the Astro World where they grossed $20 million. And now the year prior, he grossed about $50 million for his entire tour. So now other artists are taking note of this and seeing how profitable that was. So we've had other artists like Ariana Grande that just hosted a virtual event in Fortnite. And then the next person to host a virtual event that was just announced probably a week or so ago is Justin Bieber.
I'm waiting for Wayne Newton night.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, you can you put your VR glasses on and you can go to these events, you hear them play, you can purchase things like different outfits and stuff to wear. You can even purchase like
tour
cool
shirts.
Dance moves.
Virtual tour
shirts. That was
That'd
actually
be
a
fun.
part of their the sales of the 20 million that Travis Scott pulled was including
merchandise.
merchandise
Yeah, 100%.
as well. Yes. And so you can purchase dance moves though. So you have the flyest dance moves at the concert, and it's just different social status symbols that people will spend money on. The opportunities are endless.
Well, Nike has already decided that they're going to sell virtual Air Jordans and the same kind of fanatics that they have standing outside, sleeping on the sidewalks, waiting for the stores to open just to get one pair of shoes. out of like, the 300 that maybe the store has, and being one of those people who gets to go home with that, style shoe, they're just going to be able to mimic that virtually, right? So not only do you get the tangible item that you could actually wear in real life, but then you also have the avatar wearing those same sneakers. And talk about revenue, because people are spending thousands of dollars on these sneakers. I'm sure Nike's going to be able to make some pretty good revenue with their own NFT sneakers as well, because they're going to be NFT. They're going to be like blockchain sneakers with their own digital code and everything else. So digital NFT wardrobes, all of these things are real. They are going to happen, guys. And how do you get involved? That's the question. Like, how are you going to get involved?
Adidas partnered with Sandbox,
right,
as well. And
that was a big power move. And Atari also is, and we all know Atari as one of the earliest, consoles that we grew up with in the 80s. And now they're getting Decentraland, space, and they're buying up little plots and putting their little Atari kiosks, and already in the Genesis Plaza, you go and see all the different games. You have Pac-Man and all these other things. So you could, again, be immersed in some of your favorite brands in the virtual world.
It's just wild what's going on. It really is, when you start seeing all this technology and all this virtual reality just come to life now. That one, your avatar walking through, just reminded me of the Money for Nothing video. If you looked at that video from...
it's very 8-bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Men at Work?
No, that wasn't Men at Work. That
No?
that wasn't Men at Work.
Dire Straits.
Dire Straits.
Yeah,
And,
that's right.
You were walking through it. That Money for Nothing just kept popping through my head as you were
like the
walking.
little block figures.
Yeah. But it's here now, and everything that people were talking about to sell virtual land, virtual sneakers,
all of it.
Virtual strip
I love
joints.
the art galleries.
The art galleries. I mean, people with these NFTs, these walking gorillas and dinosaurs and all this other stuff you're seeing. It's just
Cyberpunks, Bored Apes. It's and I never knew people would love 2-dimensional digital art so much, but then you also see some very cool art coming out, 3D art.
If you're
virtual art,
If you're a young graphic artist, they used to say starving artists. I think this is a whole new world for a graphic artist today.
Trust me, I'm thinking about going to Savannah, go to SCAD, and go recruit. So if any artists out there, I will market you. You build the art, and I will help you sell it. 100%, because I think that's going to be a marketplace.
Oh,
every museum has a what do they call that? The help me out. The
gallery.
Yeah, no, the museum, they have a
An agent.
it's not really an agent. It starts with a C. It's a
Concierge.
No, not a concierge. Anyway, these are the people who help organize the art, put on, the art showings and so on. And I'm gonna kick my butt because I know it's on the tip of my tongue, and it's not a connoisseur. It's the museum curator.
Curator.
Why couldn't I flipping think of that right away?
Oh, sure.
I'm gonna have to edit some of that.
I wanted
out.
you to struggle with that.
That was such a hard time for me.
No edits here.
Curator of digital art is going to be a thing, guys. And I would be more than happy to do that. So if you're a young artist, you don't know where to start, but you think you have pretty good skills in the digital 3D animation, whatever kind of world, please get a hold of me. I would be more than happy to curate for you. I will help you broker different pieces to people and get you in the right places. But I really think that all of these skill sets, if you're doing anything digitally, creating games, creating, again, graphics for games, creating art that's digital, creating music that's digital, creating, loops and effects that are digital, anything digital related, we're going to be needing them in the metaverse at one point or another. Mm-hmm. So even if it's like a mimic of something else that already exists, it's going to be duplicated in these different worlds.
Yeah, it's like we could start right from the beginning. It's a whole new world, really.
Yeah.
All right, so we open up with a whole new world, and we'll close this segment with a whole world, a whole new world. And when we come back, we're going to talk about some powerhouses who are making big moves in Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency can be confusing and hard. At Space Coast Crypto Consulting, we make cryptocurrency easy for you to learn and understand. In a world of uncertainty and out-of-control central banks, it's our mission to empower you with the knowledge that you need to confidently control and grow your own crypto portfolio. Call now to begin your crypto journey. 321-412-4021. That's Space Coast Crypto Consulting at 321-412-4021.
This is why we don't crosstalk during break.
We are back. We are back.
We are back.
You guys are screaming at me.
Sorry. We were having our own show during commercial. We never stopped during the commercial. We just continued. Sorry. We have, I guess this segment is
this is the beginning of something big. We can all say that. The Metaverse is the beginning of something big. And like the boom that we saw with NFTs, we are now entering into the beginning phases of it with gaming and with the Metaverse. So, pay attention.
It's kind of combining both forces because the NFTs are joining into Megaland there, Metaland.
So you have to have foresight.
Yes.
You can't believe that everybody's just going to shop on OpenSea or some other NFT exchange because that's not really exciting. But when you immerse it into a virtual world and then you have these pieces and they're larger than life, they take up a whole facade of a building. And for everybody to see, that's exciting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To go to the Bored Ape, yacht club, and everybody has their big old yachts, all NFT different yachts. And everybody goes to the Bored Ape, nightclub, and you can only get in there with a Bored Ape NFT. So when you have
Very
all these,
exclusive.
that's what I'm saying. So when you have that FOMO, that really desire of having something that exclusive, because there's a population that, trust me, that's why sports cards sell. Nobody wants to upkeep a sports car. As soon as you get one scratch on it, it depreciates 10%. So nobody wants the liability of a sports car, but they have to have it because it has that status, right? It has that exclusivity. Oh, this is one of 50 made in the world. That's all it's about, and that's why collectors keep them in garages and they wax them and they never drive them. You can't put miles on them. They're just for show. So why wouldn't you also mimic that in the virtual world where you have these things for show? Because ultimately, that's all you're really doing is looking at these things and paying, somebody a mechanic.
Yeah, it's all a status symbol.
Yeah.
It's all the logos and feeding into that desire for being identified with certain things.
Think of all those people that took LSD back in the 60s. Today, it's right in front of them. They're just walking through this fantasy land without anything. It's all right there.
Hey, guys, did you hear about
Tell us.
Jack Dorsey stepping down as CEO.
Good.
After 16 years of being with the company, he's built the company to, I think, $32 billion company valuation, has decided to step down. He says that he doesn't see how him staying with the company as CEO works towards it having good longevity. So he says that it's one single point of failure and he is stepping down to give the company wings to grow. Paraphrasing, of course.
Grow which way?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. Well, it'll be interesting to see
it's a waste
the
of
way
time.
that things go. There is a
Twitter.
large Bitcoin and crypto community on Twitter. It is the fastest way that you can get, real-time news, through Twitter, depending on who your group of people is. So I find it...
Or subreddits.
I was going to say, there's Reddit, too.
Or Discord. I've joined 5 Discords on all these different NFTs.
Yeah.
New releases, discounted NFTs, and all these other things. I, for one, not a fan of Twitter. I actually had 6 accounts on Twitter for different, brands that I've, helped produce with social media and everything else. And the amount of trolls, the amount of, just rude. Right. I mean, you look at some of these threads, and it's just just nasty. Vulgar. And it's, there's no how do you say, accountability. I mean, nobody has their profile picture. They're all using aliases like ABC123. They're all, it just allows for the worst of humankind to go on there and speak just vomit. I mean, I got dumber the more and more I got involved with some of those threads.
Well, I focus primarily on crypto Twitter. So
no, I'm sure. I mean,
I'm on Twitter. You can find me at Space Coast Crip One.
Little self-promotion. And
Oh, yeah.
remember, Jennifer has Space Coast.
Space Coast Crypto Consulting.
That's right. And the show is not for financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Hopefully we're entertaining.
Hopefully.
Otherwise, we're failing on both.
Yes.
we don't do finance and we don't do entertainment.
We'll be doing him.
Yeah, so I mean, Jack Dorsey, he is also the CEO of Square, and so Square, I believe, is like a $92 billion valuation. So a larger company than Twitter. And Square, he actually recently released the white paper that they plan to build a DEX on Square, so a decentralized exchange. Focusing on crypto. So he is an advocate for Bitcoin. He's a big proponent for Bitcoin. He has spoken very openly. He helped integrate Twitter tips using the Bitcoin network. And so it'll be interesting to see what he does, because he has said before, if he wasn't the CEO of Twitter, he would focus his whole entire life on Bitcoin. So now I think that he is going to have more time to work with Square in doing that.
Well, good for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And good luck to Twitter.
All right. Well, Bitcoin has a very transparent ledger, and on-chain analytics recently has showed that Bitcoin has never been more decentralized. With the mining exodus from China, there are now miners that are all over the world, and new nodes running computers popping up in all different locations. And the amount of wallets that we have has reached the most amount of Bitcoin wallets that they have ever had. So the network is growing, and it's growing in a decentralized manner. And, that's what is so important for Bitcoin to keep succeeding, is that all of the hash power isn't concentrated in one area. So that will bring us into the next person who is making massive moves in Bitcoin, who continues to make big moves in Bitcoin, and that is Michael Saylor. So Michael Saylor has purchased 7,002 new Bitcoin that they have now added onto their balance sheet. So this was a $414 million purchase. He just had laying around, I guess, and he purchased Bitcoin at like $59,000, which I find very interesting, because now he has a total of 121,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet as a corporation. So it took their business from a $1 billion valuation in 2020 to now $7 billion. So their strategy of purchasing Bitcoin has really showed that they're outperforming the market. And so it'll be interesting to see other companies coming and taking and adopting their strategy. And Michael Saylor has made his strategy open source, and he has offered to educate corporations and businesses on doing the same strategy. And he's very vocal on his strategy as far as holding forever and not selling. He says, why would I sell an asset that's appreciating in value when I can just borrow all of this money at virtually no interest rates? And they're proving to be very successful at it. Yeah.
Did you say he owns 404? What was that number?
121.
121,000 Bitcoin.
And the value is what? $400.5 billion?
$7 billion now.
$7 billion.
Well, that's the valuation of their company of MicroStrategies.
Right.
So his average price is $29,534 per Bitcoin. So he started buying Bitcoin when it was like I want to say like 9,000 or 10,000. So he just started this strategy in 2020. And so I find it interesting though how he never, like Nayib Bukele, he tweeted last week since our last show that he bought the dip. I think it was Black Friday when everything kind of tanked the day after Thanksgiving. So Nayib Bukele, he tweeted that he bought the dip. Well, Michael Saylor doesn't buy the dip. And I find that very interesting. And I almost wonder if it's a tax strategy or something, because with crypto and taxes, there's like this FIFO, like first in, first out. strategy. And so if you purchase at a higher price, but then the price actually goes below that price, even though his average price is $29,000 per Bitcoin, he could still claim that as a loss. So I wonder if that is part of his strategy, because he never seems to get like a good entry price. All
great questions. That's way over our
Again, this is for entertainment
job
purposes.
description. Yeah, I mean, of course you could take losses, but I'm not sure if that's the entire strategy. I mean, I think you would want to just get into something that you know is going to be of a certain valuation eventually. In 10 years, $1 million Bitcoin probably is going to happen.
Yeah. You
and
heard it here.
And he'll have 121,000 of them.
Yeah.
So
you're gonna see the first trillionaires.
Yeah, I mean, it's a $1 trillion market. I mean, everybody's been saying that about the metaverse as well. I mean, there's so much to be earned, and then value added, and then value received, and it's. I mean, once everybody's on it, just like Facebook, once the grandparents, the parents, and everybody else is on it. Your teachers, and everything else, and the community is really engaged and spending a lot of time on there, and all those billboards are seeing lots of eyes, and there's a lot of commerce going on. People are buying and selling, all the different utilities that are going to be there, from NFTs and everything else. Trust me, it's limitless, and people see that. People recognize when there's this unlimited potential, and I think. Michael and anybody that holds Bitcoin understands this. So those are my thoughts. But we'll see. I'm just excited about where we could take it as people, and I just really hope that the Dorseys, the Zuckerbergs, and other censorship types stay out of it. DAO is so it's not one person spearheading the policy regarding that whole ecosystem. I really think it needs to be a diversified, just like in the real world. I think the metaverse needs to mimic the real world. I don't think it's going to be a utopia where everybody's just all happy. I think that, but it's going to allow for people to join in common interest and do some fun things. And I think it will be clubs, bars, galleries, comedy clubs, music. I think it's going to be all those great things that humanity has to offer. But I also think it's okay that there's some things that people see in real life. Casinos, strip clubs. Some of the more seedy types of humanity. I really think it's going to be a little bit of everything, and I think that's healthy. Because let's be honest, if you're spending so much time in a virtual world, it doesn't hurt for you to see. Gamble virtual money and see virtual naked bodies.
Where?
At the strip club.
No.
He's going to be at the dog track. We know Joey.
I'd be at the casino. Forget that.
He's going to be betting. He's going to be betting on little robot.
Little robot horses.
Robot horses.
Little Rockies.
Well, they have the horses already. The NFTs.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe we need to build our own
little track.
Yeah. And
oh gosh, there's so many things.
There's so many things.
So much. All right. Well, if everybody's mind is exploding, because mine is, that's enough for today, I think. I mean, we really covered a lot. So thank you so much for joining us here on the Crypto Wave podcast. Crypto moves fast, and with the Crypto Wave podcast, we keep you one step ahead. So make sure that you check us out every week. Like and subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook and YouTube, and then you can find me at Jennifer at spacecoastcryptoconsulting.com. Send me an email, or spacecoastcryptoconsulting.com. Visit the website, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye, everybody. Be safe.
Bye.
All right, bye now.